Hi everyone, welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Clark Wolf, and this is our daily show bringing you the latest in movie news and insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News Editor-in-Chief, John Campea. John.
Greetings and salutations, everybody. I need to start off today's show with this. I need to issue an apology. It was brought to my attention that I said something a little bit insensitive on the show yesterday, and I need to address it. I said that, I made a joke about how, there's a well-kept secret that there are actually idiots on the internet. To all you idiots, I apologize for my insensitive comments about idiocracy in general and the nation that you inhabit. So thrive, enjoy, and embrace your idiotness. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. And joining us this morning is Associate Editor of AMC Movie News, Amy Rose Eisenbach. Amy, good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Wonderful. I'm doing good. How are you?
Wonderful too.
Good. Oh, we're just wonderful today. Actress Olga Kurylenko from Oblivion has joined the cast of the book-to-film adaptation of Vampire Academy, Blood Sisters. Kurylenko will play Kirova, the Academy's headmistress, and the film is being helmed by Mean Girls director Mark Waters. The Vampire Academy is a coming-of-age, action-driven fantasy series set in present day with a hidden universe of vampires, half-human, alchemy, and magic. It focuses on a 17-year-old girl named Rose, who is a dhampir, half-human, half-vampire. John, are you intrigued at all with the idea of Vampire Academy Blood Sisters?
There's an old saying that goes, when you look at a container of water, it is either half empty or half full. This is completely empty. I have little to zero interest in this, and it's not the fault of the source material, lest I offend any of you who are fans of the source material, because this is one of those situations where I know nothing about the source material up front. But I know that I'm really tired of vampire movies, and I'm really tired of vampire TV shows, and I'm really tired of vampires in general. Maybe show me something with Dracula, but other than that, I'm just kind of tired of it. So I'm going to give the film a shot, and the whole project a shot when it comes out, and then I'll make my kind of evaluation. But as far as how much interest does it stir in me this far in advance, for me personally, absolutely none. Amy Rose?
Yeah, I'm a little torn. I do love vampires. I think they're pretty badass and very sensual and cool, but I too also was kind of like, okay, bring me something else. And this kind of feels like, well, I know a lot of people love the book series, and I also did not read them, so I have no prior knowledge to it. It feels like Percy Jackson meets Harry Potter meets Twilight, and I don't know. I do love fantasy, and since it's action charged, maybe it would be really cool. And Olga's a lovely actress, so why not? So I'll give it the benefit of the doubt. But yeah, I can't say I'm like jumping on the bandwagon and really excited for this. I'm kind of neutral.
Yeah, plus aren't we on to witches now?
Let's do witches.
I think witches is what's up for the upcoming horror trends. Well, James Franco is set to star and direct the film adaptation of The Garden of the Last Days. The book centers around a stripper named April, her daughter, and two unusual clients. It is said to be a painful novel about sex, parenthood, honor, and masculinity. Set in the steamy underside of American life, it juxtaposes lust for domination with hunger for connection, sexual violence, and family love. Franco will be screening his first directorial effort with As I Lay Dying at Cannes. Amy Rose, how do you feel about Franco's involvement with The Garden of the Last Days?
That sounds like quite a book, I tell you. It's also the same author that did House of Sand and Fog. Ben Kingsley and Jennifer Connelly were in that. It kind of has like a Derek Cianfrance vibe to me, where it's over-dramatized and really powerful and very emotionally charged and really brings up raw human sides of nature and just what people go through and kind of the darker side of humanity. So I am rather intrigued. And James Franco, I've got to say, if you guys haven't seen Spring Breakers, he was so good in that movie. And it really showed that darker, grittier side of him. So I think he's really going to have an eye for directing. I look forward to seeing his first directorial effort. Yeah, I'm really intrigued with this, and it'll be interesting to see how the cast gets stacked. Who's going to be the stripper, the daughter, all of that. So yeah, it sounds very heavy, but like it'll be very interesting.
You basically had me at the story centers around a stripper named April. No, I mean, it's difficult. Look, this is a very ambitious sounding project. It's an extremely ambitious sounding project. And so for me, it's kind of tough to know how to feel about it when I haven't seen Franco direct anything yet. I know I love him as a performer, no doubt. That doesn't necessarily mean he can direct. I think we're going to have a lot better idea once we have a chance to see As I Lay Dying. But it's intriguing. And look, full marks for guts. Because this is a gutsy move on Franco's part to take on a story like this, at least just from its outset and how it sounds. This sounds like it could be quite complex. It sounds like it could have a lot of different layers to it. And it also sounds like it could bomb horribly.
Yeah.
But that's the risk, and I love risk takers. I like that Franco's a risk taker. So.
And this is bold, and we know that he can do, you know, we've seen a lot of, even in Harry before he went dark, and Spider-Man, and like we've seen, and in Oz when he's more charismatic, and we've really seen the whole spectrum from him. And I do think he has a great attention to detail, maybe when he's not super stoned all the time. And I think it will translate to Behind the Lens. I'm giving him definitely 2 thumbs up, hopefully.
All right, folks, we come to that part of the show for buy or sell. Here's what's going to happen. Right now, Clark's got a bunch of other items in the world of movie news. She's going to give them to us, and Amy Rose and I are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Clark, what do we got?
All right, here we go. First up. Kevin Costner is set to star and produce the upcoming indie Black and White alongside director Mike Binder, who previously worked with Costner on The Upside of Anger. The film focuses on a man, Costner, and his wife, who have been raising his biracial granddaughter after his daughter's death. His wife is then killed in a car accident, and the man then comes into contact with the child's other grandfather, who seeks to legally take the girl away from him. John, buy or sell Black and White?
Absolutely buy, completely buy. Kevin Costner is one of these guys who is horribly, undeservedly underrated as an actor. I mean, his role in Mr. Brooks about 4 or 5 years ago, I thought he deserved an Academy Award nomination for that damn film, and no one ever talks about it. And I finally got around to watching the McCoys and the Hatfields. McCoys. Damn! Costner is the man. This dude can really act. He's got a bad vibe these days, but so for me, in general, I buy it.
Did you say a bad vibe?
He's got a bad vibe going out towards him.
Aw. I'm also going to buy it. Upside of Anger, where Costner and Binder worked together, was a really powerful movie. And while this definitely sounds like a downer, I do think it's going to be really well done. And yeah, Costner had me at Field of Dreams. Like, I love him. He's such a great actor. So I think it will be interesting.
Yeah, we're all in agreement. I'm not a huge Costner fan, but that premise and that movie, I definitely want to see that. So cool. All right, next. Recent reports state that Tom Hiddleston was in talks to star in The Crow remake, but it is now reported that Hiddleston's involvement has been blown way out of proportion, stemming from a simple conversation, while True Blood star Alexander Skarsgard is actually the current frontrunner for the part. Amy Rose, buy or sell Skarsgard playing Eric Draven in The Crow reboot?
I'm gonna buy it. I think Skarsgard is really starting to flex his chops. He was just in this indie flick Disconnect. He's obviously great as Eric Northman on True Blood, which shows the darker gothic kind of side, which can translate. First of all, I don't want them to remake this because Brandon Lee is the Crow. But if they're gonna do it, you know, initially Tom Hiddleston I thought would be a good fit. But I do see Skarsgård. He's a little bigger than I imagined, but I think he does have the dynamic range that could translate to this badass rocker.
I'm going to sell this. I'm not a believer in Skarsgård at this point. And, you know, traditionally speaking, people who first make it big as television stars do have a hard time translating that and transferring over to the movie world. I think this is going to be an uphill battle for them. I much prefer the idea of Hiddleston in the role. So in general, for me, it's a sell.
Yeah. I prefer Hiddleston too, but I do think Skarsgård is better than you're giving him credit for.
Okay. That makes sense. I'm with you guys. Hiddleston would be my choice. All right. A Gears of War film looks like it will actually be happening now, as Scott Stuber has come on board as producer. Stuber recently produced the films Ted, Battleship, and Identity Theft. The game focuses on an epic battle of survival against soldiers for the Locust Horde, a terrifying race of creatures that surface from the bowels of the planet. John, buy or sell a Gears of War movie?
Despite the fact that my belief is that all video game movies suck, I'm going to give this a buy. Gears of War actually has an interesting premise to it in the sense that you could make a really cool sci-fi epic action adventure films. Of course, the potential is there that it could suck just like everything else. But I think I think the law of averages says we're due for a good one, and I think this one has as much potential as just about any of the video games out there. So for me, I'm going to give it, oddly enough, a buy.
Well played, John. I like that you're turning around. By Gears of War perfectly lends itself to a badass movie, and I like the films that Stuber has produced to date. So yeah, I think it's going to be a fun sci-fi adventure.
All right. 20th Century Fox has picked up the sci-fi script Capsule, which has Matthias Hone from Cockneys vs. Zombies attached to helm. Capsule centers around a young man whose life is turned upside down when he mysteriously begins to receive metallic capsules containing messages from his future self. Amy Rose, buy or sell Capsule?
Buy. I'm a sci-fi junkie, and this sounds really cool. I mean, can you imagine from your future self? Sounds really cool.
I'm gonna sell this.
No.
We already saw this. This is a Hulu series right now called Dating Advice from a Future Self, which is probably 10 times better than this movie is going to be. I think this sounds a little bit hokey. I like the web series, at least season 1 of it. Season 2 completely sucked, but season 1 is very creative and very cool. But what was that one that? Frequency? Was that it? Yes, I think it was called Frequency. So we've seen this kind of theme before, and for whatever reason, it's just not hooking into me. I'll give it a chance, absolutely, but for me, it's a sell. All right, folks, now we've come to that part of the show for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question that you would like us to address on the show, you can email us your thoughts anytime at amcmovietalk@gmail.com. We get a lot of emails from you guys every day. We pick a bunch out of the mailbag to use on the show. Clark's got a few of them picked out. So, Clark, what do we got?
Okay, Ian Wallace writes, "Hey guys, love the show and listen to it every day while I'm at work. I live in the UK and got to see Iron Man 3 on Friday. Sorry, Schnepp. I loved it, but I was really surprised by just how much money it took in over the weekend internationally. Man of Steel is the film that I'm really looking forward to, as I am a massive Superman fan. So my question is, do you think it can beat Iron Man at the box office?"
No chance. Absolutely zero chance. And will it be better than Iron Man 3? Has a great chance to be better than Iron Man 3. Chance to be better than Iron Man 3. But remember, you got to remember a couple things is what's leading into it. Iron Man 3 is coming off of The Avengers, the greatest comic book movie of all time, one of the biggest box office successful films of all time. So it was going to be huge no matter what. Man of Steel, on the other hand, is not coming off a big, successful film. As a matter of fact, the last time we saw Superman, most people, me not included, but most people were really disappointed by the last Superman. So it's got a little bit of an uphill battle to go. It's got to prove itself to fans and audiences first. Now, Man of Steel 2, maybe that'll break other records, but who knows? But as for right now, I just don't see any reality where Man of Steel beats Iron Man 3 at the box office. Amy Rose?
Yeah, agreed. And beyond just coming off the heat of the Avengers, Iron Man's a trilogy. So it already has people who have been watching the entire thing hoping that 3 is better than 2, and it is.
Yes.
And so I feel like that already, they want to, people really like to be, follow the whole journey and see the whole work of art. And Shane Black has a lot of love behind him too. Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and Lethal Weapon, and he's a really amazing writer and filmmaker. So I do think, and Robert Downey Jr. I mean, even Stan Lee said in our red carpet interview of Iron Man that he pretty much had Robert Downey Jr. in mind, it seems, by writing this character, and he's just perfect for it. So I think the love behind the cast and the character and the trilogy is just, but Man of Steel is going to be awesome. We have lots of high hopes for it, so we'll know a lot more after that's released.
Okay, Jordan Bell writes, "Hey guys, I wanted to get your thoughts on Channing Tatum playing Prince Adam and his alter ego He-Man in the upcoming Masters of the Universe film directed by John M. Chu. After directing Tatum in the Step Up movies and the recent G.I. Joe Retaliation, do you think John M. Chu chose Tatum merely out of convenience? And what do you think of Channing Tatum playing the Protector of Eternia and Castle Grayskull? Love the show, guys. Keep it up."
No. No. I mean, first of all, great logic. Great logic. Thinking like, look, this is a guy, he has worked with this director a couple of times. They seem to enjoy working with each other. So I follow your logic and I'm with you. And I think, unfortunately, what you suggest may actually be a possibility. However, that being said, it looks to me like Tatum is trying to get a little, I think he's going to try to get away from that. I think Tatum would do a He-Man film, number one. Number two, dude's kind of scrawny now. He just is. You look at him in Magic Mike compared to where he was about 3 or 4 years ago. He's about 40 pounds lighter in Magic Mike than he was before, and he's really purposely, he's trimming himself down a lot. Not He-Man in my book. I wouldn't want him there. Not because I don't think he could pull off a good Prince Adam and whatever, but He-Man, I say this about Batman all the time, but He-Man especially, you need a big dude, and he ain't it right
Like
now.
The Rock?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to say The Rock because he's in everything. I mean, Rock would be great, but someone like The Rock. Yeah, but I just don't, I wouldn't want it personally. Amy Rose?
But the fact that we've seen Channing be big and broad, and I do like that he's trying to get out of this pretty boy role and trying to, he was great in G.I. Joe, which was fun action. And, why would directors and actors that have good rapport on set want to work together? That makes perfect sense to me. And Channing's a really good actor. He's great, and I want to see him continue. He would have to beef up, but I think he would be a good Prince Adam. I think he could pull it up. He would also not be my first choice. I do imagine, like, roar, hear me roar more. But I do think he could pull it off, and with personal trainers, we can all look badass. So.
Yep. And they have good box office returns. I mean, those Step Up movies did well, and so did the last G.I. Joe movie. So I'm sure it'll be successful.
I'm excited to see what Chu does because I think he's got a good eye.
Yeah, he's definitely a cool up-and-coming director, for sure. All right. Tyler Kelson writes, "Hey guys, love listening to the show every day. Over the last week, I watched the entire Clone Wars series for the first time. I've also been playing some of the Star Wars games, and one of my friends informed me that a lot of what is in the CW goes against the continuity from the expanded Star Wars universe, movies, books, comics, games, etc. So my question for you, continuity-wise, is this. Do you think that with Episode 7 coming out that they will stick only to the 6 movies, the movies plus the Clone Wars show, or everything in the expanded universe? Personally, I think that I would prefer it if they stick to the movies and the show, because realistically, most moviegoers aren't familiar with the books or comics. Plus, I think it would be pretty awesome if they found a way to write Ahsoka Tano, Anakin's Padawan, in CW into 7.
First of all, Tyler, thank you so much for the question. It should be laid out. Nothing is canon in the Star Wars universe other than the movies. I mean, there were suggestions that the Clone Wars movie was as close to canon as you could be, but it's not really canon. None of the books are canon. None of it is officially canon. Now, but that doesn't mean that J.J. Abrams isn't free, if he wishes, to draw upon elements from those external sources like the cartoons or like the novels or the video games if he chooses to use them. It's just that they're not canon, so they don't have to be used. I do, however, have to take issue, my friend Tyler, my brother in arms, about the notion that Ahsoka Tano should be used in the film. And here's why. I'm going to read something to you that I actually wrote a number of years ago. As you know, I'm a lifelong Star Wars fan. In my earliest childhood memory, my mom taking me as a child to go see Star Wars. My first pet's name was a cat named Luke Skywalker. Star Wars is my life. It really is. But when I went to go see that Clone Wars movie that came out a couple years ago, I was so enthusiastic. I was so excited to see new Star Wars, even though it was just an animated thing. It broke my heart. It disgusted me, as a matter of fact. So much so that I wrote that it killed my passion for Star Wars.
No.
And here is a little paragraph I wrote about our mutual friend, Ahsoka Tano. And here's what I wrote. Ahsoka Tano, the annoying little orange Jedi Padawan who replaces Jar Jar Binks' P-Usa with calling Anakin Skywalker her Jedi Master Sky Guy and R2-D2 R2-y. She is the true heir to the mantle of franchise killer, once held by Jar Jar Binks. Yes, Ahsoka is the new Jar Jar, only worse, because there is no tiny gray area with her. She is 100% and unapologetically a WB Kids show character aimed directly at children. It was the final nail in the coffin, the nuking of the fridge, and the jumping of the shark all rolled into one and confirmed the already existing truth. Star Wars was dead, and actually had been for years already, and now there was really nothing left but to acknowledge that she had killed it, and I had to let the grieving process begin and accept it. So no, my friend, my brother in arms, I do not agree that Ahsoka Tano should be in the new movies. I'm going to tell you this right now. As passionate as I am about Star Wars, I will not go to see Star Wars Episode 7 if they put that character in. Wow. I'm saying it right now. You can hold me accountable for it in 2015. I will not go to see this movie if she's in it. That's how strongly I feel about it.
Them be fighting
Amy
words.
Rose.
Whoosh. Okay. I agree on Ahsoka and Jar Jar. How annoying can characters be, especially growing up with Chewie and R2-D2? Like, come on, those are the characters. Those are the sidekicks we're supposed to have. My first dog's name was Chewie. John?
Oh, nice. Nice.
And Princess Leia was like the first costume. We're both Star Wars junkies. And we feel the same way about the prequels as well. Like, it took way too many liberties for the love and the universe that we fell in love with. I really have faith in this production, though. I really think JJ is going to do it right.
Yes.
Finally, we have Carrie Fisher confirmed, and that means, you know, Harrison and Mark are soon to follow, and I just really think they're going to get this right. And I know the younger generations, we talk about this a lot in the comments with our fans and stuff, that they loved the prequels because they're younger and that's what they were raised on. But, you know, Star Wars fans, the older ones, we'll call us, the prequels just didn't do them justice. It didn't really have the nostalgia and the love, and it didn't fit for me. But I really do have faith that this one is going to do it right. And JJ's a big fan, and that's who we need to helm behind. And we need George to not direct and to just take, you know, executive producer role. So I think you're going to be really happy with the universe they create.
And you know, one of the things that really bothered me most, you're talking about the love and the passion and the respect for it. Going back to this little miscreant, Ahsoka Tano, this whole thing, the relationship in Star Wars, I'm sorry, I got to address this. The sacred relationship between Master and Padawan. Like, you watch in any Star Wars incarnation, you refer to them as Master. That's what you call them. You are reverent to your master. And there's this thing. And then she pops on screen and she starts referring to her master as Sky Guy. I wanted to kill people. I wanted to grab complete strangers around me and choke the life out of them. I was so angry because they would become the representation of everything that was wrong with this movie. And so I'm getting a little bit worked up.
I think you
A
just
little
saw
bit.
Let's move on to the next thing.
Hulk awaken inside John.
Yeah.
You gonna smash some things next?
That's
Maybe.
right. You don't like him when he's angry.
No.
Okay, next. Simon A. writes, "Hey guys, big fan of the show, been watching for some time now. Just curious as to one trend in movies recently. Why has there been this pattern of two movies being about the same thing within a close time span, i.e. Olympus Has Fallen and White House Down, Oblivion and After Earth, The Incredible Burt Wonderstone, and Now You See Me? Last year it was Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. Not sure that's about the same thing. But what's going on here with all the copycats?"
Okay, well, first of all, this whole trend about studios coming out with similar themed movies has been around for a very, very long
Absolutely.
time. I mean, one of the most notorious ones in the past 20 years was like Dante's Peak and Volcano.
Yeah.
Like coming out like same year, coming out, all that kind of stuff. This happened, or a couple of not Alice in Wonderland movies, but Snow White. A couple of Snow White things, or a couple of... However, and you know, White House Down and
Olympus
Has Fallen is a great example of that. However, let's not stretch it too much. Abraham Lincoln, or Lincoln and Abraham Lincoln Vampire
Little
Hunter,
different.
very, very, very different
Same
movies.
title character, very different backstory.
The Incredible Burt Wonderstone and Now You See Me are very, very,
Man, that
very
trailer
different
for Now
movies.
You See Me
I'm
is
so
great
excited.
trailer.
awesome.
I'm really excited.
But yes, characters in the movies are magicians.
yeah, there's no heist in Burt Wonderstone.
Just because two movies both have cops, therefore they're the same movie. No, it's a very, very different film, and by all indications, so is Oblivion and After Earth.
Right.
They're very different films.
Shame
Although
hammer.
there's a kind of a theme there. Yes, absolutely. So we actually don't see it as much as you might think, but it does happen. And I think what happens is you get these concepts. Nobody owns the copyright on volcanoes. So if two different studios think we can make a big blockbuster on this, they can both go for it. The Snow White, you know, there's different sets of rights to Snow White, so people can latch on. There's different sets of rights to not Alice in Wonderland, but The Wizard of Oz. So MGM can hold the rights to the movie The Wizard of Oz, but Disney can get the rights to the book The Wizard of Oz, and they can all make their own different interpretations. That'll happen. That'll continue to happen, but I don't think it happens as much as you might think. Amy Rose?
Yeah, it does feel that way, especially with the whole fairy tale stories popping up. It's just like, mirror, mirror, oh this, and yeah, Snow White. And the cool thing about it that I'm seeing though is that they've been taking different tones. And like Pinocchio, we've heard about a Guillermo del Toro version. Are you kidding me? Sign me up right now with Robert Downey Jr. potentially playing Geppetto. Like, that would be amazing. And you know, the other Pinocchio story I heard doesn't seem to be as dark. And I feel like that's really what the studios have been doing. And the real interesting thing to me is obviously it's all about who gets there first, right? But if we hear a story about one of these projects happening and another one follows really quickly after, did this studio not announce it first, or have they both literally been planning it at the same time and we're just hearing about the release dates? And Hercules, they moved it up a week, and like all these interesting things. So I do think it's very interesting, but as John mentioned, it's not a new thing. We've been seeing this happen a lot, and the good thing is, since art is so subjective and film is, you might like one and not the other. So good thing they're taking a topic that you might be interested in, and maybe one studio will do it justice and one won't, but that might differ depending on who it is. So good thing is there's always going to be choices for you.
All right, folks, well, listen, that'll do it for us. We've run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. And listen, while I've got you, take a second and click that subscribe button. Become a subscriber to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, and of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. Listen, head on out and see movie night, or go and get your advance tickets for Iron Man 3 now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all your theater and showtime and, of course, movie ticket information. If you'd like an audio-only version of this episode, make sure you look in the description of this video. You'll find links to our iTunes and our Stitcher Radio. Once again, click that subscribe button and visit amctheaters.com. Thank you so much for joining us. I want to thank, as always, our lovely host today, Ms. Clark Wolf.
Thank you, John.
AMC Movie News Associate Editor, Ms. Amy Rose Eisenbach.
Thank you, lovelies.
And most of all, thank you to you. Remember, what we have to say up here is completely irrelevant. The most important part of this show is what you have to say. Make sure you jump down to the comment section of this video and leave your thoughts on any or all of the topics that we've discussed here today. So until tomorrow, my name is John Campia for AMC Movie News. Thanks for joining us, and until then, bye-bye.